Hi, this is Dr. Fab Mancini, and I'm so excited that you decided to join us. And as you know, my gift, my passion is to deliver to you some options, to deliver to you some ideas as to how you not only keep your health as a top priority, but what is it that you do every day that would ensure that you live long and you live healthy. And today I have one of my dear friends and somebody that I have tremendous respect for his leadership, and that's Dr. Richard Drucker. Richard, it's so good to see you again, man. You look amazing.
Thanks, Fab. It's just always an honor to be here, sitting with you and talking, having an opportunity to interact. And Fab, to be honest, your smile lights up the room, so it's easy for me.
Well, you know, we've known each other for over 25 years. I mean, I still remember in the early days. But for those audiences out there that have not heard, I know that you're a legend in the naturopathic world. You've been supporting doctors of chiropractic for over 30 years.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about where exactly this passion for creating a carbon-bonded solution to nutrition came from. I know you have a beautiful story that I think people need to hear, because the greatest leaders that I find in my life are the people that actually have the greatest stories of why they are doing what they're doing. So what did it for you?
Well, it's passion. And one is my desire and passion for life, and wanting to find a solution that is beneficial. It was life-saving for me, but in the process also became life-saving for so many other people. So chiropractic became one of the most enjoyable and compassionate. I'm an advocate of chiropractic, so I enjoy the environment, the chiropractic environment. I have spent so many months, even years, back in the day when you were the president of Parker. I spent time during that period and interacting with Parker and just getting to know a lot of chiropractors. And as we got to know chiropractors, I realized there was a synergistic sensation, and it was a very critical sensation. It was one that allowed mutual respect and understanding. So naturopathic medicine is so similar in a sense to chiropractic. In fact, it was a very challenging decision. Do I go naturopathic? Do I go chiropractic? I have a huge following of I love chiropractors. I believe in chiropractic. We have set the stage early on with chiropractic as a key modality, not just today, but for the future. And everything that you've done over the last 25 years, 30 years to support chiropractic has the evolution of that is what we're seeing today. And the evolution means that tomorrow chiropractic will be more important. Why? Because chiropractic is at the base of curing and looking at different aspects of how to resolve so many different health conditions. It is a definitive modality here to stay for the future. And I believe in that modality. That modality literally helped save my life. Without chiropractic, I don't know that I would be here today. So I went naturopathic, but don't please understand that my relation and my understanding and my love is very Palmer was an amazing man. His work and the work of so many other, your work and the work of so many other chiropractors has revolutionized the medical world, and it's here to stay. And I value that. I respect that. Carbon bond technology, it is a synergistic modality. That modality works so well with chiropractic. It has everything that the chiropractor is looking for. It helps to slow down subluxation. It helps obviously to help sustain the adjustments that were just made. It is a neuroelectrical catalyst. So that neuroelectrical catalyst is working directly with the hands of the chiropractor, and whether he's doing activator or whether he's doing adjustments, it's a synergistic solution for chiropractic. I love it.
Tell me a little bit about what is it that people need to understand about carbon-bonded technology. This is your invention, 30 years in the works.
Yeah.
Now we have thousands of doctors that are clients of yours that are sharing this solution with their patients. You have thousands of consumers ordering every month. But what is it exactly that people need to understand why carbon-bonded technology is critical for nutrition to work in the human body?
It really is, Fab. Brother, it is a remarkable mechanism for taking nutrition and enabling that nutrition or passing that nutrition through the body, through the epithelium into the bloodstream. And it's remarkable because we're made of carbon. And so our bodies are looking for things that are also made of carbon-based nutrients. Anything that's carbon-based, the mitochondria and the cytoplasm of the cell have the capacity to recognize it. As they recognize it, the body then can what? It can absorb it and utilize it. So the idea of CBT, which is carbon bond technology, it's very simple. It's actually very simple. What it does is it attaches itself or it polymerizes itself to a nutrient. The body then can see that, it can carry that nutrient through the epithelium into the bloodstream in under 18 seconds. Now the body can see this nutrient, absorb the nutrient, and potentially detoxify the cell. Why? Because the cell is made up of the same living material that we're made up of, and carbon has a high affinity for inert material. That inert material is accumulated over a lifetime. It's pesticides, it's chemicals. It's just the things that the body can't get rid of. So carbon has an enormous affinity to go after inert carbonate type or chemical-based substances, toxins, inert materials, and it polymerizes to that. So it's doing like 2 or 3 things simultaneously. It's carrying nutrition into the cell at a record speed, made up of the same living material that the cell is made up of. So now the body absorbs and utilizes. The second thing that it does is it goes after that inorganic inert material that has accumulated either inside the cell or outside the cell in extracellular space, interstitial fluid, fatty tissue. It attaches, it bonds to it, it polymerizes to it, converts it in a sense from an inert material to a carbon-bound molecule. Now the body can release that molecule through the cytochrome P452 pathway, which is in the urine, the colon, or obviously the largest organ in the body, the skin. So the body has an enormous ability to heal and regenerate and rejuvenate. It's rather amazing. It's rather astounding to see the change in people in just a short time, sometimes 2, 3, 4 weeks. So,
when I was president of Parker, I always found it amazing because my bookstore manager would tell me that Intramax sold so well in the bookstore. And I would say, what do you think it is? And he said, well, the students come here and all we have to do is give them a sample. And all of a sudden, they're just buying it off the shelves and we can't keep enough of them on stock. I know that for you working with doctors, especially chiropractors for over 30 years,
yes,
has been a very strong passion for you.
Yes.
So you mentioned a little bit about the absorption, but also I want you to talk about the fact that you put hundreds of vitamins, minerals, and ingredients that have been proven by science to be very effective in the body. So when I sample this, why is it that my body feels so good so fast? And how did you decide what ingredients to put in it to make it so robust? Because people right now are taking 40 or 50 pills. This is just a shot. And in one shot, you will feel a tremendous difference.
It's a synergistic blend, right? That's a great question. And the idea was I wanted to create something that not only was helpful in terms of energy to help improve the cellular voltage and the cellular energy of the body, but I wanted to create something that was both synergistic from that perspective and as well as from the detoxification perspective. And what I did was I looked at the key nutrients, things that the body really people are generally lacking in. And synthetic chemical nutrition has been around and will continue to be around. So the idea here is that synthetic chemical nutrition isn't the only way to get nutrients into the bloodstream. In fact, it clogs the bloodstream, it clogs the cell. So the idea was I wanted to create a blend that was bound to carbon. And that bound to carbon blend means that the key nutrients that the body needs every day, there's a synergistic blend. And that blend is what took 30 years to design. That blend is what is what I spent months, years, decades in the lab creating. It's creating perfect blend, synergistic cellular blend, so that the body will receive over 400 organically bound nutrients. And that is something that took a lifetime to do. It took me, Fab, literally 13, 14 years to attach carbon, living carbon, to a mineral. The idea there was then once we were able to attach it and hold it and have it sustain, I wanted then to figure out how to attach over 400 nutrients to it. The joke or the key or the fascination is that we wanted to combine that all into one product, into one synergistic blend, and then have it make it taste good. That seems insane. I mean, that's a very difficult, that was a challenge. The idea, was a great idea, but to put it into reality, it took, it was a lifetime. It was 30 years. It was, creating flavors. It was trying different processes. It was, and the color. People look at the color all the time and you're like, gosh, that it's just become a bright yellow color. If I change the order of how it's manufactured, the color changes. There is an all-natural product. It's so all-natural, in fact, that we don't even have a preservative in there. There is a natural preservation system called IntraFresh technology. It's a massive jump. It's a massive leap. It's a revolutionary leap in how we preserve liquid supplements in the United States. And I love the idea that we are utilizing this without the need for potassium sorbate and sodium benzoate. The idea is carbon goes and attaches to the nutrient. The body then absorbs it, utilizes it. It's almost as if we've turned the clock back to before 1930, and we're getting the foods, we're eating the food supply from before the 1930s that are loaded with all this organic, complex nutrients. It is literally identical to turning the clock back before the 1930s, as if we were eating it from our food supply. And now today, we actually have the capacity to manufacture this carbon bond technology, attach it to all these different nutrients, bring it into the bloodstream, have your body utilize it, detoxify, and watch your energy change before your eyes. It's somewhat miraculous.
During this administration, there's been a couple of insights that the administration has released. One, that 76% of Americans are struggling with chronic disease. Another one is that 90% of the healthcare cost in America is chronic disease. How do you see this carbon bonded technology be a solution that addresses the root cause of the majority of those chronic diseases?
That's probably the ultimate question. So really, if you stop and think of what you just asked, what you really just said is, how do we prophylactically prevent the disease manifestation, even though we're surrounded by, all kinds of modern medications, surgical procedures, but we're also surrounded by, unfortunately, a lot of inert material. So in the advent, in the scientific understanding that we've gone through in order to manifest science and create such incredible scientific, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say science has increased so much, but yet medicine has also increased so much, but yet so has disease. We have seen a definitive correlation, though. Even though science has gone up, medicine has gone up, we've spent so much millions and billions of dollars in the scientific world, we've also seen an incredible manifestation of disease. Why is that? And the reason is because we have lost, and our foods have become hollow. And the idea is that now, for the first time, we can put nutrients back into our bodies and prevent so much disease manifestation, because our body is receiving all of those key microcomplexes, those organic complexes, those minerals, those nutrients, as if we were getting it from the food supply. CBT is a technology which is here today. It will revolutionize the industry. Why? Because we are literally attaching carbon as if we were eating it from our food supply to the nutrient. We're cutting out the need for the food and we're going right to the nutrient. And we're saying, hey guys, we have come up with a concept to bring us back to before the 1930s so that we can literally prevent so many diseases, literally just by utilizing CBT, by having carbon bond technology available to us today. Our bodies receive nutrients literally in 18 seconds as if we were eating it from our food supply. That's how we prevent disease from manifesting.
Well, and we know that the food sources, unfortunately, have very little nutrient in it. In fact, most of them is toxic or things that are harmful to the body.
Yeah.
But you did something else that really amazed me early on in your career, and that is that you're not only addressing the adult issues of health through Intramax, that you introduce IntraKids, and you recognize that we as chiropractors and doctors, we have a family practice. We take care of the whole family.
Yeah.
My kids grew up with IntraKids, since they were little, since they were literally born.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about where do you see the value of IntraKids when it comes to supporting the health of our children, which right now, according to HHS, is the biggest concern that they have, because we have the sickest children's generation that we've ever had in the history of humanity. How are you planning on doing that?
Well, that's exactly what we need to do. It is no different than chiropractic. Chiropractic keys in on prevention, not to say that it doesn't completely address the desires and the needs of curative. It does. But the whole concept of chiropractic is, hey, let's keep you adjusted. Let's keep your body in balance. Let's keep the energy flowing. Let's make sure that there's no chronic subluxation. That chronic subluxation helps to open up energy channels, and it helps keep the body in balance homeostatically. And if there is a disease manifestation, it's probably because there's a clog or a subluxation. That subluxation becomes chronic. It goes from acute to chronic. We have the exact same concept literally brewing with our children. If we don't invest and prevent they have an incredible opportunity to not just thrive, but to create a new environment in the world, because they are literally our children, and they are here to bring science, bring modern medicines, but we have to prevent disease first. Our children are everything to us, right? We look at them as our future. We have to teach and train. We have to educate them. But how do we do those things when the environment that they are in, for example, their school environment, isn't feeding them correctly? How do we do that when their snacks are loaded with synthetics and preservatives and chemicals? How do we do that? How do we bring our children up to be their best when they're not in an environment that's conducive to being their best? So what we want to do is create an environment for them to allow them to excel. And everything, in a sense, I mean, it's hard to say, but it's pulling against them, pushing and pulling against their capability to thrive. We want to create an environment for them to not just survive in school and have ADD and all these other problems. We want them to thrive. How do we do that? We provide carbon nutrients, help them focus, laser focus, help their memories, help their short-term memory, long-term memory, their attention span. So now while they're in school, they're enjoying themselves. Why? Because they're receiving information immediately, and they're absorbing that information. They're partaking in conversations in class. Now they're engaged in the classroom. How do kids stay engaged? They engage through focus. And what do we need? We need our brains to be engaged. And how do we do that? We want to detoxify out of the brain all of the chemicals, all of the things that are passing through the blood-brain barrier. We want to get it out of the body. And we want our children to receive nutrients. We want to bring them in on this whole food concept. We want to bring in organically bound carbon-based nutrients that their bodies can utilize instantaneously, which will allow their bodies, they need to grow, right? They're in school to learn, but they're also growing. And what do they need? They need support.
Yeah.
And what's the number one way to support a child? Well, as parents, we know we want to love our children and support them emotionally, but we also need to support them physically. And if we let one of those two pieces go, their plane becomes cattywampus. Their one wing goes up, one wing goes down. We want our children to be balanced. In order to balance them, we use CBT. CBT is the number one way to keep our children focused, to keep our children not just wanting to be in school, but absorbing while they're there. So when they come home, they're engaged. They're engaged tomorrow in class and outside of class. Because we both know as parents, it doesn't stop in the classroom. We know that they're involved with extracurricular activities. We know that they want to whether it's volleyball, whether it's soccer, whether it's, football, whatever the debate team. But school is just the beginning. It's after class where the child lights up like a light bulb and is like, Mom, Dad, I have things I got to do besides, sit for 7 hours in school. I want to go be my best on the field. And how do we do that? Electrolytes. What's the best and most powerful electrolyte on the planet? An organically bound electrolyte. Where do you get that? Into your kid. It's a circle. And we provide a total solution.
In closing, I know that you have worked with doctors like me for over 30 years, and I know you get a tremendous amount of feedback from them and from us regarding the benefits of your products with our patients. What is the one thing that touches your heart still today whenever you know that doctors are using your products with their millions of patients every single day? And why is that important to you?
It's interesting. The one thing in life that I think we all want is we all want the people around us to be healthy. You want your family to be healthy. You want your friends to be healthy. You want your mom and dad to be healthy, whether they're 70 or 90. You want your children to be healthy. So what is the best thing that we can do for our families and our friends and our children? When that phone rings, brother, and I'm in the office or I'm doing something, or I'm in the lab, which is where I usually am. And somebody's like, hey, doc, I just want to share something with you. And I'm just like, yeah, for sure. And that phone rings and the person who had lupus is crying on the phone. It doesn't really matter what we went through. It just doesn't matter, because what matters is 3 words: people, planet, purpose. We are here. I am a servant. I am here to serve. I love serving. I know what I am. I know who I am. I believe in who we are as a company. Why? Because I understand why we're here. I understand our purpose. And it's people, planet, purpose. So when that phone rings and I'm in the hallway or I'm in the lab, somebody comes, not just walking, but sort of like skedaddling after me. Hey, doc, I just want to chat for a second. I just want to share with you a quick testimonial or something that's going on, how we changed a life. What could be more important, brother, than changing a life? And if you're that person that is not well, that has chronically been ill, or somebody who is struggling not just day to day with energy problems, but may have a serious chronic ailment, we're partners. We're team players. We're here to show those people and to be there with them through the journey. Why? Because at the end of the journey, we want success. And when one person feels the success or shares that story, I think that's why I stayed up the last 18 hours. That's why I wrote a book called Carbon Cure. That's why we spent endless days, weeks, months, and years to attach carbon, living carbon, that people said, my colleagues especially in the naturopathic world, can't be done. You cannot attach living carbon to a nutrient or to a mineral. Can't be done. The reality is we've done it. So the feedback, the stories, the testimonials, there will never be a greater gift into my life, into my heart, to sit here and share with you than when that phone rings and we help someone. And whether they're 7 months old or 97 years old, it doesn't matter. Our joy, our love, our beliefs, our focus is not on us. It's on you. So with love, I say to God, by the grace of God, I say 2 words. First of all, thank you. And I also say, what else can we do, God, to enhance and to continue to help people heal and grow? And whether it's MS, whether it's, chronic fatigue immune dysfunction syndrome, which back in the day used to be called CFIDS. It became replaced with fibromyalgia or myalgic encephalomyelitis, whether it's Lyme's disease, right? Lyme disease has come on with such intensity in the last 15 years. It has created so much disarray and so much disease manifestation. There is mold and mycotoxin, there's mold toxicity off the roof. We are here to address all of it. And how do we do it? We get down to basics. Why did God design our foods to be loaded with carbon? There is a reason for it. And it's not necessarily your fault or mine that economic-based farming happened in the 1930s, but the reality is it did. So we're here today. And if we're here today, we're sort of, in a sense, stuck. So what the solution is that we can apply CBT, carbon bond technology, into our bodies, into our life, eat and receive the nutrients as if we were eating the foods that contained it, and our bodies detoxify and heal. The phone rings and people say, oh my gosh, I had chronic L3, L4, L5 disc, hip dysplasia and disc, all kinds of herniated disc pain, from everything to my face has exploded with acne, and everything from MS to common cold. But we're here to address it at the root problem, or at the root cause of the problem, and to make a difference. And that's really all we're here to do. That's our job. That's our life.
Well, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule. And for those of you that are watching this, I hope that you were touched, like I'm being reminded again, of why is it important to look at every possible solution to be able to make your body healthier, to make the bodies of your family healthier. Many of us have aging parents also that are really struggling with their issues. So please consider going right here. I'm going to put the link right here. Place your order right now so you can begin to enjoy the benefits of carbon bonded technology. These products are unbelievable, I can tell you, because I've been using it for over 25 years. And not only that, I want you to know that your life will change. This is simple. And right now, in my opinion, one of the best things you can do to address the root causes of most chronic diseases, if not all, is to actually feed your body with the right minerals, with the right ingredients, with the right nutrients that your body is lacking, that is missing. And when you add the carbon bonded technology to that, now you can ensure that that body is going to absorb it and begin to utilize it within seconds. That's the power of carbon bonded technology. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.